Hello and welcome to TD's Pokemon Lair. I'm TD and this is the Lair. Today we're unboxing a box of 10 Pokemon cards I sent to PSA over a year ago. Got them back in this box, professionally packaged, safe and sound. Let's get them out of the box and see what grades I got. Alright, let's go. We are looking at a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Sandslash, a first edition, the number 41 card of the set. Our front surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. The graphics look awesome. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's slightly towards the right, but it might be within the tolerance. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the top, but it also might be within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think they are free of any damage. Looking at the back of the card, our surface is free of any damage like creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think that all looks really good, probably within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage on them at all. And we'll get a grade of Gem Mint 10. I'm actually surprised by that one. This is a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Seadra, a first edition, the number 42 card. Our graphics are bright and crisp. There's no creases, bends, or scratches on the surface of the card. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think, is all really close to the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage. As we look at the back of the card, our surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. Our graphics look great. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, it's slightly towards the top. Centering from left to right is towards the left. Looking at our corners and our edges, there's some slight damage on the two upper corners, the lower right corner, and down that right edge. And we'll get a grade of Near Mint, Mint 8. That's not too bad with the damage I saw. We are looking at a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Slowbro, a first edition, the number 43 card of the set. Looking at the front card of this card, it's very bright. There's no creases, bends, or scratches or damage on the surface of this card. Looking at our centering from left to right, it's towards the right a little bit. Centering from top to bottom looks a little towards the top. Our corners and our edges are free of any damage that I can find. Taking a look at the back of the card, you can see as the front, there's no damage to the surface of the card like creases, bends, or any dirt or scratches. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, it's a little bit towards the top. Centering from left to right is quite a bit towards the left. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think there's some slight damage on that upper right corner. And they'll get us a grade of Mint 9. I like it. I like it like that. Let's look at this 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Tentacruel, a first edition, the number 44 card of this set. Our graphics are bright. There's no creases, bends, or scratches on the surface of the card. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think that's within tolerance. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think that's really close to the tolerance. And looking at our corners and our edges, I think they're very clean with no damage. Looking at the back of the card, our surface is free of any creases, bends, scratches, or any damage to the graphics. Our centering from top to bottom looks pretty close to the tolerance. Our centering from left to right, I think, is slightly towards the left. Looking at our corners and our edges, there's some damage on that lower left corner. And that will provide us with a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty darn good. Here is a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Weezing, a first edition, the number 45 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, it's very clean. I don't see any damage like creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right is towards the right a little bit. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at the corners and the edges, I do not see any damage at all. Flip the card over and take a look at the back of the card. Our surface is clean of any creases, bends, dirt, or damage. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's slightly towards the left. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, that I think is really close to the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage on them at all. And that's going to get us a grade of Gem Mint 10. That's surprising to me. I didn't think it'd get that high. This card is a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Ekans, a first edition, the number 46 card of this set. Looking at the front, the graphics are bright. The surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right is slightly towards the left. Centering from top to bottom, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage at all. Taking a look at the back of the card, our surface is nice and clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's slightly towards the right. Centering from top to bottom, looks really close to the tolerance, but it might be slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think there's some very slight damage on that lower left corner. And that's going to get us a grade of Mint 9. That's their story and they're sticking to it. Check out this 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Geodude, a first edition, the number 47 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, it's very bright. There's no creases, scratches, bends, or dirt. On the surface of the card, our centering from left to right looks a little bit towards the right. Centering from top to bottom, I think is slightly towards the top. Looking at the corners on our edges, I think they show no damage. The back of the card, we'll start with the centering. Our centering from left to right, I think, is towards the left a little bit. Centering from top to bottom looks a little towards the top. The corners on our edges, I think, are free of any damage. I don't see any. Looking at our surface, it's nice and bright. There's no creases, scratches, or bends. It looks like a pretty good card. And we're going to get a grade of Gem Mint 10. Another one that surprised me. Wow. Take a look at this 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Grimer, a first edition, the number 48 card of the set. Looking at the front graphics, is very clean. There's no creases, scratches, bends, or dirt on the surface of the card. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's slightly towards the left, but probably within the tolerance. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at the corners and the edges, I do not find any damage. As we turn the card over and look at the back, our centering from top to bottom, I think is within the tolerance. Centering from left to right, I think is pretty close to the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think they're clean and free of any damage. Also with the surface, there is no damage like creases, bends, scratches, or any other damage. And that's going to get us a grade of Mint 9. That's what I expected with the centering being slightly off. Here is a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Horsea, a first edition, the number 49 card. Taking a look at this card, it's very clean. There's no scratches, bends, or creases on the front surface of the card. Looking at our centering from left to right, it's slightly towards the left, I think. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, it looks a little towards the bottom. Looking at the corners and our edges, I think they are totally free of any damage. The back of the card looks really good. It's free of any damage on the surface, like creases, bends, or scratches. Looking at our centering from left to right, it looks a little towards the right. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think those are pretty close to the tolerance. Looking at the corners and our edges, they're just like the front, free of any damage. And Horsea's going to get a grade of Gem Mint 10. That's pretty darn good and better than I expected. You are looking at a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Kabuto, a first edition, the number 50 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see it's very clean. There's no creases, scratches, bends, or any other damage. Our centering from left to right, I think, is slightly towards the right. Centering from top to bottom, looks a little towards the bottom. Looking at for any damage on our corners, I do not find any. And there is no damage on the edge. Checking out the back of the card, our centering from top to bottom is a little bit towards the bottom. Centering for left to right, I think, is towards the left. Looking at the corners and our edges, I don't see any damage on them. And looking at the surface, it is free of any creases, bends, or any scratches. And that's going to get us a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty darn good. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video and the cards I presented. Please like and subscribe. And remember, you got to catch them all. Have an awesome day.